Hey guys, Jace here, Superhogbowbacking creator. Today we're going to talk about the 8-layer backing. This is just a test sample from early on, and we're going to be backing this horsebow right here with the 8-layer. It's going to be an upgrade. It had a 2-layer on it that was previously on an Instagram post, Superhogbowbacking on Instagram. So we're going to get to that. I'll bring you in and show you a couple of these bows and what the backings look like, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so here you are. The horsebow in the front is the one we're going to be doing. This is a camo bow, which has also got some posts on Instagram made out about it. This is the first camo I've done, so this is all experimental test camo. And I believe it's a 4-layer backing on this bow. I just fire hard in the belly with a heat gun, so it's not even done yet. This one's cherry. Still got to tiller it out a little bit more. See what happens if it survives. This one back here is my daughter's red oak bow, and it's got black highlight on it, done with acrylic, and this has a 6-layer on it, I believe. So came out really nice. Looks really cool. There's that 6-layer red oak, cherry, experimental camo, and the horsebow that we're going to be putting the 8-layer on today. So let's get that set up and I'll be back with you. Okay guys, so here we are. This is the package you get. It's got the 2 strips, 2 3/4 inches at least wide. Usually they're about 3. Usable 2 3/4. So you get the 2 strips, instructions, glue. That's what comes in the package. These actually aren't 35 inches, these strips. These are cut down for this bow, but here they are on the wax paper. So when you get this, you're going to have to roll this backwards to get the memory out of this strip. So we'll do that quick, get it laying down decent before we glue up. I'm not too worried about it being neat right now. It's very windy, by the way. So we'll see what happens here. Alright, so we got that. Maybe. Couldn't have picked a worst windy day to do this on here. Put a bow on it. And there goes my toe. And that's it. Well, you might be able to do this. Maybe not. Holy cow, it's very windy. Alright. We're going to size the bow first. Everything is blowing away. So come through with a layer of glue on the bow first. I'm going to do one side at a time, depending on how you're set up. This is usually how I do it. And another thing I wanted to do, stop this. Alright guys, so here we go. It's really windy, so bear with me. Everything's blowing away. We're going to size this bow. I'm going to do one side at a time here. It's usually the way I do it. It'll cure up in like a, well, it won't be cured, but it'll be dried and ready to use, or switch around in about an hour and do the other side. Dries really fast. The previous video I did is a little bit more descriptive about how to put it on there. Like I said, this bow had a 2-layer on it before. I like to get glue on the bottom too, because I like to roll it over. It seems to get a better wrap, but you can cut it down if you want to fit. I've seen people do that too. So I'm going to do this one side, and then we'll probably cut out. I'll dry it, do the other side, and then we'll come back when it's time to rasp it off with the old Shinto and clean it up. And then maybe we'll camo it or something, I'm not quite sure yet. So you do that with your glue up, get your strip out on your wax paper, and we're going to apply a thick layer of glue to this. I'm actually going to put some glue on. Usually I don't put it on the paper first, but with the wind I am going to a little bit here, because this is crazy. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this right now. I have to make another video of this if I can't get it to calm down. I've never applied a backing in a wind before, so it's the first. So apply a heavy layer of glue. Like I said, you really only have to do this backside unless it's super windy like it is here. We already sized the bow. Get your glue on there, get it nice and saturated, let it soak in. If you're doing an 8, you're going to want to let it sit for a few minutes longer than the lesser layered ones. It takes a minute for the glue to penetrate through, but the stuff does act like a sponge, kind of. So it'll soak that glue right up in a matter of a few minutes, and then you can move on to putting it on your bow. Keep it blown away. We're going to move right in with it. I usually use the strip to apply it. I flip it right over. I get it centered up to where I want it. And then just start smoothing it on there. Probably could have waited a few more minutes, but this wind is really annoying me, so we're going to get it on there and let it sit like this for a minute. Start smoothing all the air bubbles out. This is one of the first multi-layered 8 layers I ever did, so it's pretty wrinkly, which I actually like. But it's a little bit wrinklier, more wrinkly than the ones I've been producing nowadays. If we can just get it on there, saturate this other side. So you're going to rub it on like that, peel this away. Here you have the lesser layer ones. They're going to be a little bit more flimsy and they might just flop down on the sides. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this with the wind, but we'll see. Get it saturated on this side. Normally it's not this big of a deal because it's not windy wherever you're doing this probably. Back is killing me. So you're going to saturate this other side now that you have it on your bow. Like I said, I probably would have ideally let that sit for a few minutes longer to soak that glue up a little bit better. This thick strip. I have to square this up a little bit. Right, put a little water on your hands or a little glue, smooth it out. Sure all that air is worked out of the surface before you start rolling it over on the sides if you haven't pre-cut it, which I really never do. Seem to get a better glue up if I roll it over, but either way works, just the way I like to do it. And then you're going to roll it over the sides. You can trim up this end a little bit if you don't want it spinning around on itself, or if you want your tips to be a little bit neater. Make sure you don't have that air in there. have an arrow pass on this bow, so I'm going to make a little slit there so I can fold it over into that area. Rinse the hands off of it. Take a little slit out of there. It'll roll right over. If you do end up with some trapped air, you can always re-wet it, re-glue it, smooth it back out. Make sure you get all that air out of there. And if it does end up drying with air in it, you can pop the bubble with a pin if it does happen to you, and it'll still be fine. And just work the air out with your hand at that point, or your finger at that point in time. I'll have to do more videos about stuff like that in the future. Alright. Looks like it's on there pretty good. Bring in for another close-up look at what it looks like now, and then when I'll do the other side off video, and when it dries, we'll start the video again and show you what it takes to clean up the backing strips. So here we are. If I can get it on video here. What's going on? There's the camera. It's weird not looking at the so that's what it looks like. And I'll bring it back in when it's dry. Got the bow on the side now, and here's what it looks like drying. So I'll be back shortly. Alright guys, so here we go. The 8 layers on the bow. It's a Magnolia Tree Workshop I got going on here. And we got some acrylic out. I think I'm going to show you guys how I do the camo after we take a look at this 8 layer application. What do you got going on here? Nothing's been removed from the bow yet with a rasp or anything, so this is where we're at. Like I said earlier in the video, this 8 layer was really wrinkly because it was one of the first ones I did. So the new ones that I do now are not really as wrinkly. So nothing's been removed yet. This is where we're at. There's the camo bow that I did before with the experimental. It's the only other camo application I've done, so we are going to do that, and let's get that going. I just have some simple acrylic paint here and some paper towels, and I will show you what we're going to do. Alright guys, before we do the Shinto side removal of the excess, I just wanted to show you what I do with a tight bond. Every time I do one of my backings, I put Tight Bond 3 on it to waterproof it in, and it just seems to make it overall better. If I can get the glue open. You want to be pretty liberal with it. You're going to remove it from the sides and the back, so you don't have to really worry too much about that, but I fold it right over. You can lay it on there pretty thick. I actually might keep the sides of this backing I've gone both ways before. I've done just leaving it on the back and leaving it down the sides. I don't know, I'm going to decide as I go along here. So I am going to glue the sides of this one. I just wanted to show you how liberal you can be and what it's going to look like. It dries clear, so you're not going to see this opaque white color when it's done. And especially if you have more tillering to do, this will keep the backing from rehydrating and the humidity of your environment. So I do it every time. Even though this bow's done, I'm still going to do it. So that's that. We'll bring it back when it's time for removal. Alright, so it's pretty straightforward. The key to doing this properly is not getting a lot of paint on the paper towel. I'm going to start with brown because that's the way I did it last time. And you just want to do a little drop. You can always add more. It's harder to take it away than it is to add it. So just do a little drop. And then smudge it in a little bit like that. And then lightly apply it to your bow so you can get a kind of a base. And I want to do this before I do my excess removal because it'll just keep it cleaner. So start with that, and you could probably don't even have to do green on this. You could probably just get away with, I got black and 2 different greens here, none of which I'm super fancy or happy about for camo colors, but they'll do. They're the same ones I used on the other bow, and it came out actually pretty savage, so I'd use it. Disappear in the woods with that thing. Alright, so there's the one side. Move to the other side. Handle. You can't really mess this up, I don't think. Maybe you could if you put too much paint on your towel, but if you keep it light, I think that'll come out good no matter what it looks like in the beginning. So there's that. I think we'll do a little greenage here. The green's the one that shows up a little bit more than the others, so really go light with this one. And it's going to look probably really bright until you put the black on. Well, that was a little bit more than I wanted there. Smudge that in really good. I'm going to barely touch this on there. Let's kind of pick up those highlights. Alright, so this is where we're at so far. And you can see that, maybe, I hope. Alright, and you'll see now when we put the black on here, it's really gonna bring it out. Obviously, again, you want to go light with the black, because that one's going to show up the best. It's not as bright as the green. So here's our black. Make sure they're all shaken up good too. I didn't shake the black yet. So just a dab. Dab will do you. Smudge it in. This one's turning out slightly different than the last one I did. I'll get a tiny bit more black for the other side. Just a drop. Whoa, that is not going to work. That's way too much. Way too much right there. Get rid of that. we just want to drop like that. Out of the way there. So this is where we're at right now. On the arrow pass. I'm gonna call that good. Clean that up. Also, this other camo I finished it off with a layer of the tight bond over it. So we're gonna go. Actually, there's a spot up here I want to hit a little bit better there. It's coming with black. That'll work. Alright, now that I'm covered in paint, so this is where we're at. And I will bring you back here in a few to do the removal, which is pretty straightforward unless you've never done a backing before, but that's where we're at there. I may or may not. This one's already been tight bonded, so I probably won't do any more tight bond. I'll probably just clean it up and finish it with True Oil. So I'll be back shortly. Alright guys, this is where we're at on the camo bow. I've started trimming off the excess backing on this one. I left it down to the bottom on one side so you can see what that looks like. And on the other side, I've decided to remove it all the way up on this bow to the very top edge. Just the back of the bow is going to be exposed. Like I said before, I've done it both ways. And I also did a light sanding on the whole top side because I went a little heavier on the black, and you'll see that down here. A little heavier on the black than I intended to. But figuring it all out as we go here. This is the back where it hasn't been removed on the one side, and you can see over here it has been removed. When you're doing this, if you haven't ever done a backing before, you're only going to move down towards the belly side, and this is a Shinto rasp. You could use a file, but you want to move down and start from the bottom and work your way up, and you'll end up, at the top edge, unless you intend to leave the whole thing on. That's pretty straightforward. So we'll finish this up and we'll get the jute wrapping done and all that, and I'll show a final image of it. Pretty savage. Alright guys, so it's got a couple coats of True Oil on it now. I did the jute wrapping on the Sias, so they're bound, and I also did some hide glue on top of that to bind it all together, and we're gonna call it done for now. The 8-layer upgrade on the camo bow. It's red oak, drawn about 45 pounds ish. And I haven't even shot it yet. I'm I'm looking forward. I haven't shot in a while because this is the bow I was shooting before I started this whole project. So there you go. Thanks for watching.